Right, so this is a follow-up video. Lots of people asked for it. You probably want to know, how did we get that glow plug tip out of the engine and how did it all go? So that's what this is about. In a moment we'll go over to the bench and have a look at the what's left of the glow plugs, the old injectors. As you can see here, all nice and clean, brand new injectors installed, brand new glow plugs, nice and clean. This is how we roll. And the vehicle is in peak condition. Let's go and have a look at those, what came out, and then we'll talk about how it came out. All right, so here are the babies. If you haven't seen the other video, have a look at the other video. What's the other video called? That'd be good to know right now. The thing is, hopefully I release that video before I release this one, because the name of it at the moment is called Avoid Diesel Problems, and here it is. It goes through all these things working on this vehicle, in this engine, and one of the problems we came across. So if I get it right, that will get released before this one. And if you're subscribed because you're smart and that's what you do, because you don't want to miss that really important next bit of information, then you'll see this follow-up video, which people have been asking for. So we're going to try and do the follow-up. So obviously these are the old injectors, right? Out with the old, in with the new. These are the old glow plugs as demonstrated. 1, 2, and 3 came out okay, and they didn't actually break. We'll just do that again anyway, right? I'm sure we could go a bit harder, but number 4 was the one that we had a problem, and as described, you know, it's shiny, right? So we know it was a clean break, right? It looks like a twist break, if you know what I mean. So that meant this was stuck in the head, this tip, in the little port there, as this got turned, okay? So one thing for the next, you know, had a looked like the port was clear, went to put the glow plug in, felt the slightest bit of resistance on the end of the new glow plug. Ah, no, that bit must be still in there. So then, of course, we checked, yeah, it was in there. Long story short, for whatever reason, then that piece fell down into the engine. Oh, no. And I suppose if we had our time again, what would we have done when that broke off? I'd be tempted to crank the engine over and just shoot it straight out. But look, you got to be careful you don't start off on an inlet or something like that and it sort of sucks in, but then it shouldn't have much. The compression should be the one that pushes it out. Most people, if you know how the engine works, you know what I mean. You're with me there. But there's always a chance it could fall in while you crank it, so it's also risky. And this is the thing, we're sort of thinking between the few of us here, brainstorming what's the best option here. And we went through a number of things, which are mainly in that video, and maybe it didn't work out that well in the video, because it's always hard to show things in videos. But what worked in the end was we needed more room. The problem you've got is, see, where the injector, this is the injector seat. You don't normally change or remove these, okay? You can see at the bottom there, see the black area? That's inside the end of the injector nozzle, right? Luckily we've got the injectors here as well. You can see there's a seating washer. I'll just grab one actually, we'll put that in the picture as well, right? There's a seating washer, right? And that goes, you can see around the perimeter of the injector, but that's, if you look in there, you can see the kind of area where that sits, usually not quite dead center always as well. But what I'm trying to say here is you haven't got much access through that little hole. I'd estimate that's about, I don't know, it's about 3 millimeters. Let's not estimate, let's measure. I've got a ruler here, funnily enough. Let's measure it. You got 3 mil basically on the inside there, about 3 millimeters to work with, which isn't much. It isn't much to work with. So of course, to get it out, you kind of want to make more room by getting it, because once you get it out, it's not a clear open hole, of course, because you've got the shape of the head, the alloy and whatever, but it opens up it a bit anyway. You got a lot more airflow, because one thing we were trying and was successfully, and once removing that, I'll just say removing that seat, not something you normally do, so we're not going to go too much into in this video. And there's the other video, yeah. A video in a video, how cool is that, right? So you don't normally remove these, so you don't need to buy or order these as a normal replacement item, but we keep some in stock in case things like this happen, because if we pull it out, yeah, we could have reused this, but there's a special tool and a special system for removing it, and we prefer to replace it with a new one. So it's been replaced with a new one. If you get stuck in the situation, that's why you want to be on our Facebook groups like hashtag 1KZForeverCrew, because you're going to see stories like that there. And most important of all, again, this YouTube channel, you want to be subscribed, you want to be able to search and find the information on how to do this. And we may include that in another video at a later date. It's not this video. But look, what worked was getting that out. Then we were able to blow compressed air in the glow plug port. So in this port here, which is, you know, obviously around about that size in places, but it does obviously get smaller. Still not a lot of room to work with. This is the problem, getting the amount of air. So look, compressed air in the glow plug port with the glow plug out, with this seat out, and turning the engine up and down a little bit, changing the sort of capacity of the engine to get the compressed air. And with a bit of luck, and guess what came flying out? Bada bing, there's the piece right there, right? You know, there's a piece, and obviously it was a bit crumbled, and there was a few other bits of pieces. And of course, because it was compressed air, a lot of them went flying all over the place. You know, make sure you got your safety glasses on if you try that at home. So look, that's what worked anyway. Compressed air. Let's go and have a look at the vehicle again. So bloody amazing, really. Absolutely awesome engine, these 1KZs, almost as good as the 1KDs. And I'll tell you what, they're really no better, no worse. Obviously the 1KD is more efficient, more power, more torque, but there's a few things I need to point out here that you want to avoid, and one of them right now is, I'm going to show you where this wire, now I'm not saying we're finished here with this wire, where it's meant to be or not, but I can show you some places that it has been, right? This wire, you can see it must have been wrapped around here at some point, because look at the rub, this is what I'm talking about. Diesel vibration, you cannot have anything rubbing on a diesel engine. Fuel hoses, lines, things like this. See these, see here, they rub on the valve cover. That will rub through the valve cover eventually, okay? Check your 1KZ if you've got that lume rubbing on the engine. You can adjust it, or you can put a bit of heater hose under it if you like. Just, you know, cut the heater hose and slip it over under there. You can do that. A bit of rubber hose over that, it won't hurt. But if you've got the lume adjusted at the right lengths with the clamps in the right place, often works best, and it'll end up sitting like that. See this problem here, right? If that's sitting there, that's going to eventually rub through that aircon pipe. Now you can see also where it's been in here, kind of like, you know, with a bit of pressure like that, right? Because you can see it's been rubbing in here as well. Now, ideally, obviously it wants to sit down, like down here somewhere like that, a bit of a, what we call reworking the wire. Look, funnily enough, it's not rubbing on anything like that, is it, right? Now, I can't remember, I'd have to have another 1KZ here, but I'm going, look at that, there's a nice little, what's that, an M6 thread there, and I want a nice little clamp, and I feel like putting a clamp with that wire, you know, right there, it'd sit perfect, you know what I mean, with a clamp wrapped around this way with into that hole there. Now, is it meant to be like that from factory? I don't think so, okay? But I can't remember, it's been too long. I look at way too many 1KDs, 1GDs, other vehicles, other engines, other engine bays, but sitting like that will be just fine. It's not going to rub through the compressor. It's not going to rub through the casing of the wire. You can't have it rubbing on the pipe. That's safe how it is, just like that. See, important tip, guys. There's that one. There's that one we've mentioned before. If you haven't seen it, this is where you need to watch the other videos. Now, how awesome are these engines? I'll tell you how awesome. This one's done. It's an 03, as I said in the other video. It's done over 400,000 Ks, right? It wasn't, of course, it's been regularly serviced, right? We don't think the valve cover's ever been off and the injector's ever been changed, right? So this is having a big birthday now, right? It's all nice and clean now, peak condition, and the valve clearances were within specification. How awesome is that? Now, I wonder why that would be. It was pretty clean in the engine. If you have a look at the other video, these are meant to have 5,000 K oil changes, and it's probably because it had quite regular 5 or 10,000 K oil changes. I prefer 5 definitely, but I reckon there was a few slipped through to 10 and stuff like that. Not a lot of 10s or longer, otherwise it would have been dirtier in there, okay? But my point is, good regular oil changes is probably why those, and the right oil, is probably why those valve clearances stayed good for this long, and they're not out of specification. But sometimes they do go out of specification, and that's, you'll notice the engine lacking a bit of power. It's not going to be the only cause, but if the engine seems to be lacking power, the valves could be closing up. What else can we tell you out on here? So brand new genuine injectors, the new HKT glow plugs we use, they're awesome. We like those, made in Japan. What else? Obviously it's all cleaned up. Let's start the engine and give it a bit of a rev and see how clean it is. And you can compare it to your 1KZ. Right, guys, check this out. This is an old 1KZ, 400 odd thousand Ks, 17 years old, with new injectors, guys. New, brand new, genuine injectors, supplied by me. All right, start it up, please. Give it a bit of a rev, mate. Give it a bit more, get more aggressive. mate. Look at that. Clean as a whistle. Beautiful. Now, Mitch saw what we were doing. He thought it looked like fun and he wanted to have a go. Mitch, give it a little rev, mate. Nice. Give it another one. Give it a little bit more. Let's try it. Yeah, look at that. Okay, mate. That's it. Jump out. Anyway, guys, how good? I'm super impressed with how this has come up, and this is how the 1KZ's come up. You've seen it before in our other videos. This is not all about 1KZs, it's how the 1KDs come up. It doesn't matter how crap they come in, which pigs have worked on them, the crappy parts and workmanship they've done, we can fix it, because the base, being quality Toyota engineered, using the right parts, the right procedures that we've learnt from our experience, it's going to come up bloody beautiful. That is a bada bing. And I just want to say, I can't do all of these, but I know people that can, so feel free to stay tuned, stay subscribed. We'll mention in videos who those repairers are, where they are, and but that's not this video at this stage. If you need someone, feel free to shoot me a text message, 0490 261 013. During school hours on school days, preferred in the morning from 9 AM. The earlier in the week, the better. Monday's the day. If you need parts, Monday's the day. And be patient, because we've got a lot of holidays, days off, weeks off, whatever. So you need to plan well ahead. Don't think that it's all instantaneously. And that's it.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Thanks, mate.